Hello again. Welcome to this webinar about SCORM, Captivate, and Storyline. Again, we will look at briefly how to produce SCORM packages using Captivate and Storyline and how to pop them into Canvas specifically, and also give you a quick rundown of what Moodle looks like in case you're interested in that as well. So I will go ahead and share my whole screen. Yes. Okay, so I want to start first with a video. Oops, I'm going to stop share and reshare because I want to share a video with you. And let's try that one more time. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so first, a less than 1 minute video on what SCORM is. Let me go full screen. Here we go.
Hey, I'm Chris Tompkins from Rusticy Software, and this is SCORM in 60 seconds. SCORM is a standard designed to help e-learning products play nicely with one another. You can think of SCORM as one of the tools in the toolbox that enable different e-learning products to easily connect with one another. SCORM is used around the world as a common way to build, play, and track a learner's interactions with a course. You should use SCORM if you have a course that needs to track learner performance, move between LMSs, to create your own courses, or integrate with other systems. While not often talked about, SCORM is short for the Shareable Content Object Reference Model, which is a fancy way of saying that the SCORM standard can deliver a course and track the big four, which are time spent, completion status, pass-fail status, and score. Well, speaking of time, that's SCORM in a minute. If you have questions or want to learn more, ask us anything really. We're here to help.
Okay, that little pop-up window they have is pretty annoying. Let me go ahead and reshare without optimizing for video. Brenton, the captions were hilarious. I saw that too. Jackie Nurse is pretty funny. Okay, so basically, SCORM is just a industry agreed upon format for learning objects to communicate to a learning management system. Any decent learning management system is going to accept and work well with SCORM packages. SCORM has been around for ages. There's a new format for reporting to an LMS called Tin Can API, also called X API. It's pretty cool, but it takes a whole lot of coding and get a lot more information about what your learner is doing in a learning object, but it takes a whole bunch more coding. And of course, there's whole companies that exist to make that process easier for you. But meanwhile, SCORM is easy to implement and easy to pop into a learning management system. So I'll just take a quick look here at this Canvas sandbox. I've got 2 SCORM packages already loaded here as learning experiences, or quote learning experiences. They're just demos here. So this one's Captivate. It's worth 100 points in Canvas. Oh dear, I already completed it, so it's going to the very end there. So basically it's just a 1-question quiz. I put a survey question in there as well as part of the demo to see if it would report to Canvas. Spoiler, it does not. But basically, you open it up, it embeds the learning object within the page itself. You can see it looks just like Captivate because it's Captivate. You can answer your quiz questions, submit, move on. I put in a survey question is here. I was testing to see if it reports to Canvas. It does not report survey questions to Canvas. It's pretty disappointing. But it's good to know, so you're going to try that later on. You got your quiz results slide here. This is all built out, of course, within Captivate with what you score, your accuracy, your attempts, and whether or not you passed the quiz. So that's something you all build out within Captivate. And then you can put in a final slide if you want that has an exit button, and the exit button will just take you back to well, basically it's exits out of that in Canvas. And what's nifty about that is that when you go to grades, and I am in student view in Canvas, so when you pop in a SCORM package, I recommend entering student view, trying out the SCORM package, and then going into grades to see how you did. This is basically all the information you can get from the SCORM package in Canvas. You can open it up and it just tells you your grade. That's it. So it tells you 100% out of 100. So again, 100% is the percentage score that comes reported directly from the Captivate package itself. The LMS does not decide really what the percentage is. This is all reported from the SCORM package. So if you go into the storyline experience, it's exactly the same. You answer one quiz question. It's embedded as well in the page itself, which is nice. It works exactly the same as the Captivate SCORM package. Again, a survey question is not reported to Canvas, unfortunately. And all of the passing, the score, all this stuff, that's all built out within the software itself. So again, Canvas doesn't decide what the passing score is. It's just receiving that information from the learning object. So again, 100%, all this just comes from the learning object. And unfortunately, this is, again, all the information you can get out of the SCORM package. These packages do generate more information, but this is all that actually Canvas will allow you to view. Moodle actually collects a lot more information. You can view it. It's just a bit more of a mess to view. So if you go into Moodle, which is what we used last year for this same class, if you popped into a SCORM package, you can see right away, this is your own attempts here. And then if you go to reports here, you can generate all sorts of reports where you can actually go in and see how students answered individual questions. So not just what their total score was, you can actually see how they answered each individual question. And the answers in it, because there's a test package, were actually correct answer, C, not this one. This isn't just saying that they got the correct answer. This is actually how they answered. But it tells you exactly how they answered, what their score was for all their attempts, and you can generate lots of different reports and download this information. I didn't try survey questions with Storyline or Captivate in Moodle, but I bet it probably collects that information as well. You just have to download that. When I've used really complex SCORM packages in Moodle, you can go and see what someone did throughout an entire SCORM package, but it was like really messy to look at. So the information would be there, but be really messy to look at. So it's nice that that's possible, though, because sometimes you might be able to run a script or something in Excel or elsewhere to try to pull the data that you want out. But again, Canvas only allows you to see the complete package scores, pass or fail, basically complete or incomplete. Okay. So let's start with Captivate. I'll show you how I built out the test SCORM package. It's actually pretty easy to build out a SCORM package. The tricky part is in the details. So this is the same thing I have already loaded into Canvas and that I just demoed for you. I've just got a blank slide. I've got a question slide that reports to the results slide. I got a survey question, which of course basically does nothing for Canvas. So I recommend not using survey questions unless you want to just like send those into the ether. I've got a quiz results slide and of course the final slide here. So you build out a quiz as normal and that will report if you decide to have that report to Canvas. You can also report completion of an object based on slides viewed. So if you go here to quiz and quiz preferences, either option, whether you are reporting a quiz score or reporting slide views, is all generated here from the quiz preferences. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is enable reporting for this project. This is what makes it into a SCORM package when you publish in Captivate. The default is other standard LMSs. I would just leave it on that. I don't know what's different from Moodle because it's still just SCORM 1.2. That's the current version of SCORM. If you know anything about the rest of this SCORM stuff, you can change it here. Maybe if you work at a corporation someday, they have some standards for that. I leave that alone. It's fine. Template, I leave that alone as well. Where it gets a little bit tricky and you have to do some testing to make sure everything works right once it's in Canvas is making sure it's sending along the information you want to send along. So either it's incomplete, or it's complete, or it's incomplete, or it's passed failed, okay? So you can decide whether you want your object to be considered complete or whether you want it to be considered passed, okay? And you can decide if you want it to be just someone accesses it or someone views a certain number of slides So if you just have some sort of like, I don't know, required PowerPoint or experience where you just want someone to click through the entire project, I mean, that's up to you. You can choose how many slides you want them to click through. You can click on that and say, if there's 15 slides, I want them to see all 15, for example, or I want them to go through all 100% of slide views, or maybe this is a compliance project, so as long as they view 80%, that's fine. This is totally up to you. If you have a quiz and you want the quiz to report, I would just uncheck that and make sure the quiz is checked here. And again, you can choose what you consider passed or incomplete for this object, whether it's attempted, whether it's passed, or whether they either passed the quiz or they failed, but they've reached the quiz attempt limit. So all of this, of course, is based on your quiz settings. So you might want to actually deal with these first before you go into the SCORM settings. If you go to pass or fail, you decide again. Suzanne, yes, you can do both slide views and quiz. Yeah, absolutely. If you go to reporting here, you can check both. Oh, yes, you can check both of those things. But if you uncheck slide views, then it's going to make you check quiz or, one or the other. Yes, you can do both. Absolutely. So people can't just like jump to the quiz if that's an option. You can make them actually view the entire learning object. Okay, so if you want to do the quiz option, you choose pass or fail, whether it's 80%, 100%, whatever. Think about, of course, how many questions you have, how many points each question is, and decide what you want pass fail to be. Or you can choose points. If you know how many points things are, that's totally your choice. If passing grade, you can choose the actions here. And again, remember to choose how many attempts or infinite attempts. Generally, if I have a really well-written quiz that's well aligned to my content, I like to allow them infinite attempts with the thought that if it's a really well-designed quiz, if they master the quiz and they pass it, then I feel like they've mastered the content. I try to have well-designed learning objects like that, but it's totally up to you and how you design this. And of course, you can choose the action for failing grade here as well. So again, all this stuff you build out here is what's going to get passed to Canvas. Canvas doesn't decide if they pass or fail your quiz or if the object is complete or incomplete. That's all built in the object here in Captivate. So once you publish it, it's locked in and you can't change it. So if it makes it into Canvas and it's not processing the pass fail or the complete incomplete correctly, the problem is going to be most likely in Captivate or in your authoring software. Okay, so definitely don't skip the settings and the pass or fail here. Make sure everything is where you want it to be. And of course, it's Captivate. Have some patience with Captivate and maybe look at it and then wait a while and look at it again just to make sure everything is where you want it to be. Maybe have someone else in your group review it, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all here. Data report. You can play with this. I would probably just leave this as default down here. Okay, any questions about that so far? Okay. So let's pop over into Storyline. Storyline, I did a similar test learning object here. It's overall the same deal. You've got a quiz question, you have a survey question. Again, the survey question in Storyline does not report to Canvas either. I've got my quiz results slide here. And again, this is where you want to make sure all of your pass-fail settings are correct. You choose your passing score up here. You can choose the other quiz features, if there's a time limit or user score, I don't know, all those beautiful things. You can edit the results slide. You can choose the passing score here as well. And then where you worry about the LMS settings is when you go to publish. So this is Storyline 360, just so you know. You've got all the options here for all the things that you can publish to. In this case, you're publishing to an LMS, a learning management system. Here you can choose your title. This is what will show up in Canvas or your learning management system. You can choose all the same options that you would normally change if you're publishing to web, for example. And then you choose your tracking here as well. In Storyline, if you have multiple results slides or multiple quizzes, you choose which one you want to report. Again, you can also track using number of slides view, but this case it's one or the other. You can't do both. So it's quiz or it's number of slides viewed. And what's really nice is it already tells you how many slides are in the entire project. So you don't have to at least do that math yourself. And again, if you did have multiple results slide, you could choose what results slide would be sent over to the learning management system. Same LMS, SCORM version 1.2, that's the modern version. This one does have the option to publish to Tin Can API. Again, that's kind of like the next gen tracking, but if you use this, you better know what you're doing because you're going to have a lot of programming on the other end. And actually right now, Canvas and Moodle do not support Tin Can API. You'd have to have a specialty LMS if you wanted to use that. You know, lots of companies are going that way. So something to explore in the future. There's been a lot of presentations about it at e-learning conferences in the past few years. So generally, I leave the rest of this stuff kind of alone. Again, title you might want to change, but here's where you choose how you want the status to report to the LMS. You've got all sorts of permutations here: passed incomplete, passed failed, completed incomplete, completed failed. Again, what you choose is dependent upon how you want success in your learning object to be measured, whether it's number of slides, whether it's a quiz. Again, you want to think about how many times the quiz can be reattempted. You want to get all of that stuff set up in here again before you publish and before you send it off to your learning management system. When you do publish in Storyline in particular, so you're going to publish this here. What's unique about SCORM packages that differs from publishing to the web is that you want to zip your file. Storyline does not automatically zip your file. You have to click zip. So you want to zip it, you want to save it. I'll go ahead and just, I think it's already in there. I'll save that again. Sure, why not? And if you publish with Captivate, I believe, automatically zips it for you. So it's, let me just double check. It likes to uncheck that I have the reporting turned on. There it goes. Yeah, I don't know why unchecked enable reporting, maybe I hit cancel or something. Anyways, hit OK. So when you publish here in Captivate, it will, automatically zip files. So that's already checked. Leave that checked. You want it to be a zipped file. That's really important for SCORM packages. Why? I don't know. Put that off my screen here. OK. So close that. Too much stuff here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop back over to Canvas. I'll do a quick demo of how to load things into Canvas. Are there any questions at this point? It's pretty simple so far, right? You just have to kind of like play with the settings a whole bunch. Maybe it's deceptively simple because later on the settings can actually drive you a little bit crazy. I'm monitoring the chat. If you have any questions, of course, you're welcome to unmute as well. Okay. So let's see. So right now I am in the course sandbox. As I showed you, I've got 2 packages, SCORM packages already uploaded here. If you want to upload your own, I've got your modules already set up. Now, the tricky thing about this is it's kind of a 2-part process. You have to upload the SCORM package to Canvas, and then you have to pop it into your module. So I'll show you how to do that. In Canvas, you have to activate SCORM. It's not just here by default, and I think your administrator has to have it turned on as well. It's pretty easy. You just have to go into settings and then navigation, and it was it's disabled by default here down below, and so you just have to drag it into the active part of your navigation. To make the sandbox simpler, I disabled basically everything you don't need to use for this course. That's why all the other stuff's disabled here. So a tiny bit of setup, but that just has to be in navigation, and that's it. So that when you are in editing mode here as the instructor, you'll see SCORM here. All you got to do is click on that, and it makes it really easy. You just go to the upload button here, and you will put in your SCORM package. Let's see if I can find one of my, yep, there it is. Okay, so remember, zip file, your SCORM needs to be a zip file. I recommend actually, now that I'm looking at this, changing the name of your project within your authoring software to something a little more descriptive than Captivate e-learning course. You can see that's not very exciting. You'll choose the import type, whether you want it to be graded, ungraded, or a page. For this class, I'm asking you to import it as a graded assignment, because if it's ungraded or a page, it's not gonna report to the grades, and I want to see your learning objects report to the grades. So I'm gonna go ahead and import as graded assignment and go. Wait for a second, and that's it. That's done. So then you can actually go into the assignment settings. So I imported it as a graded assignment. Now it's an assignment. I can go in here and edit the assignment settings. I can choose to put a description for it. I can choose how many points I want it to be, how I want it to be organized in the class grade book, how I want the grade displayed. Again, all of the important information is already programmed within the learning object because you did that within your authoring software. Here, you can just decide points, how you want the grade displayed, and that's pretty much it. Leave this stuff set to whatever the default is. If this were the real world, you can put in a due date when it's available to, and that's basically just make sure you hit save. It's important you hit save in the bottom right there. It's easy to overlook that button. Okay. So that's done. My SCORM package is in Canvas, but I want to be able to actually, have it visible in the modules here. So I got this play area here at the bottom. I'll go ahead and use that. I'll hit the plus button here. I've got, let's see. Oh, I really should have used a different title here. These all look exactly the same. So I want to add an assignment to my play area. So remember, we imported this as a graded assignment. So I just select the assignment I want to put in, which is a SCORM package I just put in, and you just hit add item. And then what you'll do is you will be sure to publish. So if this green arrow is unchecked, if it looks like this little, I don't know what this symbol is called, the Ghostbuster symbol. Anyways, make sure that's checked to be a green arrow so that it's published, because you can see it if it's not published, but from the student view, you wouldn't be able to see it. Okay. So from here, once you feel like all of that is where it's supposed to be, you got to test it and make sure it's working correctly. So I always go to student view up here. When you hit student view, you are looking at this course as if you're in the role of a student, and you'll scroll down here and make sure that your assignment is actually available, visible in your module, so you know that when it's in student view, people can actually try out your assignment. And then I recommend clicking on it, loading it, and actually working through the entire thing so that you know that it works. I'm going to skip that. All right, well done. Exit to Canvas. So I'm going to go to grades. So make sure you finish the whole thing so everything's submitted from the learning object. Head over to grades, and I can see that I got 100% on the Captivate e-learning course. So I know that it's reporting correctly. If you have a very complex learning object, I recommend trying out different ways of completing or not completing the learning object, depending on how you have tracking. Make sure that it's reporting what you want it to report, and it's reporting it accurately. So if you are just having it report slide views, maybe go through and don't complete all the slides you're supposed to do, and make sure it's not reporting it as complete, for example. Maybe do some wrong answers on the quiz to make sure that it's not reporting it as passed if you haven't passed. Try all the different permutations in your package just to make sure that it is reporting correctly. So let me check my notes here, see if there's anything else I wanted to mention about that. That's basically it. So just to reiterate, you can only view your grade, or whether it's passed or incomplete or complete, in Canvas. As the instructor, if you go in, you can see the students' grades in your assignment. You just go to, again, Instructor View, go to grades. You'll go down here to select an assignment. You can choose your SCORM package, and you can select a student and see if anyone has completed it or not. You can also go into it and go into let's see what happens in Speed Grader. Yeah, you can see if people have completed it in Speed Grader as well, but you don't get any sort of like juicy reports or anything. You only are able to see if there's like a score attached to it, or whether it's complete or incomplete. So yeah, testing, super important. Make sure it's reporting correctly. If it is not reporting correctly and you need to re-upload your assignment, what I would do is actually probably go down to your module area. I would just go ahead and remove it from your module so you know that it's blank and it's ready for the new SCORM package. And go back into SCORM, and I would just go ahead and completely delete whatever you've uploaded there, and you'll have to re-upload it. You can't just overwrite, unfortunately. You have to completely re-upload your SCORM package. And if you have anything you need to change in Captivate or Storyline, again, you do have to go into your authoring software, make those changes there, and then publish, and then upload here, and then you'll have to go back and put it back into your module. All right, so that's basically all the things I wanted to say. What questions do you have? Yes, Teresa, did you unmute? I hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
When you're right here at SCORM, we're seeing the practice ones that you've uploaded, and you can delete and add more. Are we going to see each other's there, or are we only going to see our own?
You're going to see everybody's.
Oh, so we have to be really careful we don't delete somebody else's.
Yeah, so
maybe we should put our team name on our SCORM package
maybe
name.
Maybe you should. Yeah, so I would give your learning objects a descriptive name. And I mean, once you're in here, I believe you can go in here, edit assignment settings. You can change the name in here as well. So it can be like, this is Lindsay's object, for example.
Don't touch.
Yeah, don't touch. We'll delete this and I will cry. So it should be changed. No, it's not changed in here. Yeah, okay, so important note, in your authoring software, give it a more descriptive name. So if you're in Captivate, let's see, where do you change the name? Oh, right here, project title. So you can change that here. You put your team name at the beginning, for example. Storyline, same deal. You can put your team name or whatever at the front here of your title, because that's what's going to be reflected in SCORM in Canvas. Yeah, so you all do have instructor roles in Canvas. You can mess with each other's stuff. There is a secret page where I can see if anything got deleted and restore it. Otherwise, please just be extra careful with mucking about with other people's stuff. I mean, don't muck with other people's stuff. But if there's an accident, let me know. I can fix it. Just let me know. What other questions do you all have? All right. Does that make sense to all of you? Does that seem doable? Give me a. How do we switch from student view to instructor view on Canvas? Super easy peasy. Pop over to the home. If you don't see this button up here, you're looking for the student view button on the upper right. It's a little pair of eyeglasses, as if I'm like putting on my student glasses, and you just click on that. And you'll see you are logged into student view here. You'll see this pink banner at the bottom. I often forget that I'm in student view and I'll start doing something and then it won't save because I'm in student view. So sometimes you get a little bit confused in there. And let me give you a quick note about student view. So you can reset student. There's actually a student, in quotes, a student in class called test student that you'll see as an instructor. When you are mucking about in student view, your name is test student, okay? So if you leave student view and then you go into grades, I don't want to show the names of everyone that's enrolled in the sandbox. You'll see a student called test student, and that's who you were in student view. So super easy. Hit student view to go into student view. This is how I would try out your learning objects, and then leave student view and then go to grades. So you can see everyone's grade. If you want to see just what your own grade was, after you've messed with your learning object, go to grades and you can see just your own grade in here. Oh yeah, here's your name as student view. Your name is test student. So if you see test student, that's what you're doing in student view. That's what's being tracked, and you can always reset that. So if someone else is like in your group has tried your learning object, you can always reset it, and then everything will zero out and it'll be a blank slate for you to go back in and try stuff. So now everything's at 0. So feel free to use student view as you would like. Rebecca, I have no idea what SCORM reports in Schoolology. It's hard to say for a minute. SCORM and Schoolology. Well, it says it takes lots of different versions of SCORM. I haven't used Schoolology, so you'd have to just upload and then go onto grades or reporting in that object and see what it does. Or maybe there's a video out there or something and people can show you what they've done with SCORM and Schoolology. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. Just turn my camera on so you can see my bright and shining face. So that's all the content that I have. I just wanted to make sure I did a quick overview. That was a very quick overview of how to do all the things. It's one of those things you just got to get your hands dirty, dive in, and try it out. Again, this is recorded, and I'll pop it onto YouTube, so you can always take another look at it. Are there any other questions you want to ask right now? You're welcome to go into Canvas and start messing about. Again, in Canvas at the very bottom, I've got a kind of play area module. If you want to add another module that's like, just for you, that's totally fine. I want you to have the learning experience that you want to have in Canvas. So feel free to try out different things in Canvas. If you want to do other stuff in there, maybe let me know before you start adding like discussions or assignments. But
I have a question thinking about the feedback that we're going to be receiving on them. So maybe that's why I'm not really sure what the whole point was trying to do a survey. Was the survey trying to tie that in with feedback or something?
No. Oh, maybe someone emailed me and asked me if survey questions would report via SCORM to Canvas. So that's why I had those in the test packages and why I tried to try this out. You could.
I'm thinking it would be really easy to create a Google survey and create and add a page to the module. Maybe you could show everybody how to create a new page and add it to the module. Then you could embed your Google survey in the page that's in the module along with the project. So that you're not sending your feedback reviewers out to another location to find your survey. You could put it right there inside.
You could. I'm still asking you in our class 530 to still post a response post saying that you've done the feedback. So regardless, you're going to be in two different places. It's really easy to add a page. If you want to add a page or a link to your survey within your own module, that's totally fine. I've had groups do that in the past. It's not hard. It's up to you. Any other questions, comments? Do y'all feel okay about this? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on this fine Thursday evening. If you have questions going forward, please let me know.